My parents gave my entire inheritance to my brother, every single penny. And when I asked why, they said something that changed everything between us forever. Hey everyone, welcome back to Verdict Stories. Today's story comes from Reddit's AmItheAsshole, and I have to warn you, this one hit me hard. Grab something to drink, because this is a long one. Let's get into it. So my name is Sarah. I'm 31 years old. I have a younger brother named Jake who's 27. And for most of my life I thought we were a normal family. Not perfect, but normal. My parents worked hard their whole lives. My dad ran a small construction business. My mom was a nurse. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable. And growing up, my dad always used to say the same thing at dinner: everything I build is for both of you equally. You and Jake will always be taken care of. I held on to those words for years. Turns out, I shouldn't have. Let me give you some background on me and Jake, because it matters. I was the responsible one. Straight as in school, never missed curfew, worked part-time through college, graduated with a degree in accounting, got a stable job, bought my own apartment at 27. I never asked my parents for money. Not once. I was proud of that. Jake was different. Jake dropped out of college after one semester. Jake went through 7 jobs in 4 years. Jake borrowed money from my parents constantly, for rent, for a car, for a business idea that lasted 3 months, for another business idea that lasted 6 weeks. My parents always said yes. I never said anything because it wasn't my money, and it wasn't my business. Or so I thought. 2 years ago my dad was diagnosed with a serious heart condition. It was a scary time for all of us. He had surgery, he recovered. But it was a wake-up call. After that, my parents started getting their affairs in order, updating their will, organizing their finances, that kind of thing. Last spring my dad sat me down, just me, not Jake, and told me they had made their final decisions about the estate. He said there was the house, some savings, and the money from the business which he was planning to sell when he retired. Altogether it came to roughly $400,000. He told me it would be split equally, $200,000 each. I said I was grateful, and that I hoped it wouldn't be relevant for a very long time. He laughed. We hugged. That was that. Or so I thought. 3 months ago my dad officially sold the business and retired. And 2 weeks after that, my mom called me and asked if I could come over for dinner. Just a family dinner, she said. Nothing special. I showed up with wine and flowers. Jake was already there, sitting at the kitchen table looking nervous. My parents sat across from us, and my dad cleared his throat and said they had something to tell me. He told me that after a lot of thought, they had changed the will. Jake would be receiving the full $400,000. I would be receiving nothing. I remember the room going completely silent. I remember staring at the flowers I had brought, sitting in a vase on the counter. And I said, very quietly, "Why?" And my dad said, "And I will never forget this as long as I live," he said, "Sarah, you've always been able to take care of yourself. Jake needs this more than you do. I need you to sit with that for a second." I was being punished for being responsible. I was being punished for never asking for help. All those years of working hard, making good decisions, being independent, and the reward was nothing, because I didn't need it. And Jake, who had borrowed tens of thousands from them over the years, who had never held a stable job, who had never once stood on his own 2 feet, Jake was getting everything because he needed it more. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I put down my glass of wine, I picked up my bag, and I said, "I need some time to process this." And I left. My mom called me 4 times that night. I didn't answer. My dad sent a text saying he hoped I understood. I didn't reply. Jake sent me a message that said, and I quote, "I hope you're not mad at me. This wasn't my idea." I didn't reply to that either. For 2 weeks I didn't speak to any of them. During those 2 weeks I did some thinking and some calculating. Because here's the thing nobody mentioned at that dinner: over the years, my parents had given Jake money. A lot of money. I started adding it up from memory. $15,000 for his first apartment deposit, $8,000 for the car, $12,000 for the first business, $6,000 for the second business, rent payments for at least 8 months at $1,200 a month. Various smaller amounts I could remember, a vacation he couldn't afford, a medical bill, credit card debt twice. When I added it all up, I got to somewhere between $50,000 and $60,000, maybe more. So Jake wasn't just getting $400,000. He was getting $400,000 on top of $50,000 to $60,000 he had already received. And I was getting nothing on top of nothing. After 2 weeks I called my mom, and I told her I needed to say something, and I needed her to listen without interrupting. I told her that I respected that the money was theirs to do with as they wished. I told her I was not going to fight them legally, or make a scene. But I told her that what they had done had broken something in me, that I wasn't sure could be fixed, that their reasoning, that I didn't need it, had told me very clearly how they saw me, not as a daughter they were proud of, as a problem they didn't have to worry about. And I told her that I needed distance, that I would not be coming to family dinners, I would not be available for the holidays, and I would not be pretending everything was fine. My mom cried. She said I was being dramatic. She said I was punishing the whole family over money. She said Jake needed a fresh start. I said, I know, that's the problem. And I hung up. It has now been 3 months. I have seen my parents once, briefly, at a family event I couldn't avoid. It was polite and cold and lasted 40 minutes. Jake has tried to reach out 3 times. I have responded once, briefly, because despite everything he is still my brother. My aunt, my mom's sister, called me last month to tell me I was being selfish, and that my parents were heartbroken. She said family is more important than money. I told her she was right, which is exactly why what my parents did hurt so much. I posted on Reddit because I genuinely wasn't sure. Was I overreacting? Was I punishing my parents for a financial decision that was ultimately theirs to make? Was I the asshole? Reddit was not confused. The top comment, with over 52,000 upvotes, said, they didn't just give Jake money. They told you that being responsible has no value in this family. That's not a financial decision. That's a statement about who you are to them. Another comment said, the fact that they gave Jake $50,000 plus over the years and still gave him everything in the will means Sarah already received her inheritance. It was called watching her brother get bailed out her entire life. And one comment said something that made me put my phone down for a full minute. Your parents didn't change their will because Jake needed it more. They changed it because they knew you would be fine without them. They took advantage of your strength. That's not love. That's convenience. I don't know what happens next. Maybe with time things will soften. Maybe my parents will understand why I needed to step back. Maybe they won't. Maybe Jake will use the money well and build a life and none of this will matter in 10 years. But I know this. I spent 31 years being the daughter who never needed anything. And it turns out that cost me everything. Was I the asshole for cutting them off? Reddit said no. For once, I think Reddit got it exactly right. Let me know in the comments what you think. Would you have reacted the same way? Or would you have handled it differently? And if you're new here, welcome to Verdict Stories. I post new stories every week. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And I'll see you soon.